Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalie. In today's video, we're going to be talking about when things don't go as planned. Do I trust the art process? Does all art go through an ugly phase? All that in today's video. Grab a sketchbook, grab your favorite art supplies. If you need to knock some chores out while you're watching this, feel free to do so, and let's just jump right into the video. So in this painting in particular, I'm just going to talk about the process and where my thoughts were while I was doing this painting. I drew this back in July, and it's for my prompt series. It's prompt number 26, Fawn, for my All Creatures Great and Small prompt series. If you would like to join it, I can link it in the description, or if you just like to go see the other prompts I did, those will also be linked to my Instagram, and I have a bunch of shorts up on YouTube that you can go check out in compilations. I will have those linked below as well. In this video, I decided that I was going to paint this prompt. I had drawn a while ago. I was excited to do this because I've never painted something quite like this. It's familiar territory for me because it is, again, an animal, one of my favorite things to paint, but I'm trying to get better at doing backgrounds. And they're a challenge for me. I don't really quite know why, but I was excited to get started, so I made two little color thumbnails. And I put a poll up on Instagram and asked you guys what you thought I should do. And everyone liked the more yellow and green one better, so that's the one I decided to paint. Let's just jump right into the topic of when things don't go my way. Things were not going the way I wanted them to go pretty much from the start. So I wanted this to be a multimedia painting. I was going to do majority watercolor, put some gouache in there. I was going to add some colored pencils, but first I wanted to start with the watercolor. I was not in a painting mood when I started this, which is probably not a good idea, but I had blocked some time out to do it and I needed to get started on it. Right off the bat, I was already having some problems with watercolor. I just, for some reason, was having a hard time. Things weren't blending the way I wanted them to. I wasn't getting the colors I wanted to. They weren't seeming accurate. And it's not the paint, it was just me. That day was just not going as planned. I painted everything. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a base layer down on everything. Let's just see how that goes. So that's what I started doing. For the background, I had no clear direction. Yes, I had sketched it, but the forest floor, I was like completely, pretty much winging it. I had some reference photos of forests and things, but I couldn't really find anything that seemed to fit my setting here. So I was really feeling frustrated and struggling with that. And I was trying to trust the process because all paintings go through an ugly phase, but I was in more than an ugly phase. I was like, I don't know what phase I'm in. I don't know where to go. What do I do? I decided I'm just gonna scrap everything I thought I was gonna do, and I'm just gonna try to fix this and figure out what to do. So I broke my gouache paint out. It's been a while since I've done any gouache, but I very much enjoy using it. I do a lot of watercolor on this channel. I do like to break it up. I'm a style hopper. I do all sorts of styles on this channel. If you've watched any of my old videos, you already know that. But I decided to break out the gouache, and immediately that helped my brain. I was already getting the color mixing down better. I don't know what it was about changing the art medium that I was using, but it was already making everything a little smoother. So I decided I'm gonna paint this deer. I think I'm finally getting into a groove where the things were starting to go my way, and I was like, you know what? I got this. So I went in straight to the main subject, the fawn, and colors were starting to go down better. I was starting to get the blending of the paint that I wanted. I had very much enjoyed painting the deer. The process was like, I'm finally getting somewhere I wanted to go. This whole process was just a train wreck for me. So when I finally finished the deer, I was like just in a happy place. So I painted the eyes, which was one of my favorite things to paint. If you're new to this channel, you might not know that about me, but if you're not new, you'll know I love painting eyes. It's just a treat to do on the animal because it brings it to life. I added the spots on the deer with a creamish mixed with titanium white paint, and then I went over top of it to get the lightest color with my white Uniball gel pen. So like I said, when I got the gouache paint out, I was starting to get colors I liked more, but I still didn't have a clear direction for the background. I had literally no idea what to do. I'm not very good at backgrounds, like I might have mentioned before or in another video, and I'm trying to get better at them but they're just such a struggle for me, especially when I'm doing a perspective where you can see the ground and the background, like the sky. And so I didn't know how to fade the background into like the abyss. I was really struggling with that, if you can't already tell in the video. I ended up just looking up a bunch more references. I couldn't really find anything I liked, but I found things that were similar to what I was going for. So I just went for it. I started adding some dark colors, which, trust me, I was completely terrified to add a dark color in the background when I didn't have a clear plan. And I'm a heavy planner, so that was like a big to-do for me. And then, you know, as I started doing that, I kind of figured out, oh, I know what style to do. I kind of think I know what brush strokes I want to get this to look more cohesive. So I added an even darker color, and that started looking better. So then I was like, I can fade this into a dark black. So I don't quite have black, but it's super dark green mixed with a little tiny bit of black, so it gives it the effect. It started going really well, and then I added some leaves and some like little ferns and things around. I even added more leaves than I initially had planned, and it was starting to look more cohesive, and I was starting to get a clearer vision. So I guess to answer my questions in the beginning of the video, yes, trust the process. I'm not sure if all art goes through an ugly phase. I don't think I can answer that, but I would definitely say all art goes through a wonky phase, maybe not super ugly. That watercolor, before I broke into the gouache, it was just so uncohesive and my colors weren't seeming to work together. And just switching up the art medium that I was using was kind of the trick that helped me. I recommend, if you're struggling with something, either take a break from it and come back to it, which I did have to do many times with this piece, or I probably would have quit. But not only that, maybe change it up. Maybe just change up what color you're using at the moment. Or if you're using watercolor, maybe try going to gouache, or maybe try some pencils. Just break it up a little bit, because sometimes we get so stuck in what we're using that we can't even see what's wrong with it. So I think that's why it's important to take breaks in between when you're working on a piece. So all that to say, I pretty much trusted my art instincts. I was looking at the background and realizing, oh, these colors are working together. I wasn't planning on using that blue of a green, but it really seemed more cohesive than those spring greens I was using, and olive greens just didn't quite seem to fit what I was going for. So I trusted my artistic knowledge of what colors to use, and the brush strokes were coming together. And then I was getting closer to the foreground. I decided to have more of those leaves kind of spilling out. I don't know if those are real plants, I kind of just made them up. But I really liked how it was going, and I liked how it was kind of spilling out of the picture. I wasn't initially planning that. Kind of made it feel a little magical, like you could step into the painting, and that was a really cool idea. So I just went with it. I just was going with the flow, as they say. So the final thing was painting the border. I have some like pearlescent paints. I have it in gold and bronze and silver. And I was initially going to use gold, but I decided that bronze was more cohesive with the color scheme because the gold was a little too yellow. And the bronze kind of brought the deer colors into the frame. I think it was a great choice, and it was so incredibly meticulous to paint because I couldn't really water it down, because if I watered it down, it just didn't show through as pearlescent and bright and as clear as I was wanting it. So I pretty much had to use it straight out of the tube. It took forever, and I went over it 2 times to get full coverage, and oh my goodness, it was so meticulous. And I went over in between all the leaves, but then I decided I didn't want all those leaves spilling out of the frame because it didn't look quite right. It looked a little awkward on some of them. So I just covered them up, and so I felt like I wasted a bunch of time going in between the lines. But that's part of the process, is trusting the art process, which I had to let myself do for this entire painting. When you don't have a clear direction of where to go, just have fun with it. Change something up. That's what I did, and it worked for me. I was honestly kind of surprised, and it was really fun to kind of like just not know what I was doing and just kind of see the painting come together as I went, which is not something I'm used to, and it was just really fun. So all that to say, this painting was a really hard challenge for me, not in a way I'm used to being challenged. The challenge was the background, and the challenge was not knowing what I was doing the entire time. So I'm really glad that I did stick with it to the end, and I'm really proud of how the painting turned out. So if you guys like it, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you've ever had something like that happen to you, where you just went into it and nothing was going right, and then you were just like, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna go with it, go with the flow. And then it turns out being really nice. So it just turned out great, and I trusted the process, and I don't really know how it happened at all. It kind of just came together, which was really cool to see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. I will link the prompt series below. I will link paintings from the prompt series. I have 2 compilation videos. I'll come out with the 3rd one when I'm done with the complete prompt series. Comment down below if you've gone through something similar and you have some weird art story about your painting that you did and how you overcame it. I would love to hear it. Subscribe and share with your friends who are also artists who might eventually go through something like this if they haven't already. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye, and happy creating.